Apatos of the Unlikely Amigos Apatos Nancy trilogy. Compassion is the name of the game, but Yahweh justice is way more fun. Part 1. I don't like this place. I don't like the food and classes and scratchy clothes. I don't like field hockey, or basketball, or gymnastics, or lying on this stupid cot in a room full of boy-crazy girls. If something magical doesn't happen soon, I'm running away. And with that, the largest and dumbest of dinosaurs ever suddenly appeared on Adrianne's chest, happily miniaturized to an impossibly cute 1.5 inches. Its normally formidable 30-ton gronk, an adorable, inquisitory 3-ounce gronk. Sorry. Touched by its cute little big-eyed greenish blue form, its improbability overwhelmed by nascent materialism, Adrianne rose, pocketed the little fellow, packed her meager necessities, penned a vitriolic note justifying her exit, slid up the fire escape, and headed under the moonlight to Central Park, intuitively aware her as yet unnamed little charge wouldn't have lasted the night unconfiscated by older girls or adults if they didn't hit the road. The orphanage, already a fading memory. Part 2. Innumerable creatures and objects vanish and reform, miniaturized and transported throughout time and space, the overwhelming majority of which perish for failing to arrive at hospitable locales. In fact, the odds of surviving such an abrupt shock unprotected by amiable defenders is less than 1 in 300 trillion. Apatos, happily, got lucky in that regard and thus found himself comfortably bonded in contemporary New York with a fiercely independent 16-year-old who personified the word feisty. Mine, she also personified innocence, thanks to the cloistered, girls-only orphanage she'd inhabited days after her birth. So it was inevitable she'd encounter dangerous circumstance forthwith, her fresh young beauty and seeming indefensibility at present circumstance guaranteeing such. Part 3. Predatory men abound in Gotham City after dark, so it should come as no statistical surprise that Adrianne, nodding off while seated under a tree, suddenly found herself jerked high up on her toes by an absurdly over-muscled tattooed arm, an arm whose intent was clearly nefarious, for it marched her helplessly off, tossed her in the back of a rusty old van, and drove off. Mastering her shock, Adrianne released a confused Apatos from the confines of her skirt pocket and held him, seated safely in the palm of her hand, encouragingly up to her lovely, albeit distressed face, then pointed out the villain behind the wheel while making a shh sound, finger to her lips. Apatos, simple or no, flooded with her distress and concern for him, birthed a hatred for that arm of such intensity that he began to grow so noticeably she, astonished, placed him on the floor of the van, where he expanded to St. Bernard proportions, then stopped, seemingly voluntarily, so as not to squash her, eagerly awaiting their destination. Sensing a change in the atmosphere behind him, the arm pulled over, content with the paucity of people in Central Park after dark, his libido already inflamed by her helpless pulchritude, and decided to have himself some, before selling her. But when he ambled around to open the rear doors, Apatos tumbled out, rolled a few steps to get safely away from the van, shot up to his 30-ton weight and 15-foot height, tapped the doors closed with his delicate head to spare Adrianne the horror of what was about to transpire, raised the tree trunk of his formidable right front leg, and stomped the frozen in astonishment arm, complete with the previously impressive form to which it was attached, to jam. Then shrank to horse size so as not to terrify the as yet ensconced, innocent of what had just transpired, Adrianne. Gallantly giving her no time to observe what he had done, Apatos wriggled his head between Adrianne's startled legs, raised her up, exploded skyward by reforming to his adult late Jurassic size, and ambled off. Stunned with wonder, overjoyed Adrianne already alley-ooping her companions skillfully, as if they'd been doing it for as long as she could remember. Part 4. Discovering he could make himself any size he chose, Apatos, realizing his large bulk made him ravenously hungry, more or less all the time, already aware from previous experience that his gigantism made it impossible for any of his species to hide or disappear into the background, and dimly aware that such handicaps threatened their survival in this new-to-him world, chose to accept horse size as practical, for now. Thus it was they ambled more or less unseen through Central Park. Attaining its borders, Adrian slid down Apatos' neck and pointed to the ground. So he shrank to pocket size and they headed for Harlem. For no reason other than movement seemed to be the order of the day so far. Distancing from the orphanage being its primary motive, however legal her exit.